Hi everyone, Jackie Tomlin here, and welcome to another episode of When Spirit Speaks podcast. Thank you all for joining me. I'll start with giving you my contact information. We're going to jump right into things. Okay, if you're seeking to contact me for a psychic reading or to discuss the show or any episodes upcoming or past, it is JackieTomlin.com. You may also reach me at 804-731-2302 or email me at Jackie@JackieTomlin.com. Today's episode is another request, and we give a shout out to Tiffany for this one. And I think we're coming out of Mercury retro. A couple of days of the ick left on it, but it was very rough for most people, and I've heard that from a lot. So today we're going to talk a little bit about how spirit speaks without vocalizing. Okay, it's a different way the spirit speaks, and what we're looking at is when things go wrong, as they usually will. Okay, what I'm talking about is redirection, and we're going to touch base briefly on it in one of the episodes before, and I was asked to do a full episode on it. And we're talking about changes, okay? And changes that come along. If you're familiar with my readings, there's going to be some things here that will definitely resonate with you. One of those things is when I talk about sudden changes, sudden and abrupt changes, changes that you may not be expecting. This is when everything goes well as when everything goes wrong. It's both ways. And you really need to embrace that there will always be change. And part of this is why people come into your life and why people go out of your life. Lessons and blessings. I think I said that in that episode, is lessons and blessings. You have to trust that spirit knows better than you. And the reason for these redirections, they're not always bad. Okay. Let's start with the power of prayer. If you are used to praying, you will find that the power of prayer, very strong, very intense. But there's also no such thing as unanswered prayers. And if you look back and you review that, you will generally find that your prayer was answered with generally more than what you asked for, but may have come in a form you weren't expecting. Now, with that said, sometimes, spirit wants things for you that you may not want for yourself. Let me use this for an example. I've often told you that the love life is one of the biggest questions that I have for psychic readings. And let's say that no matter what, this person is not coming back, or this person is not contacting you, or whatever. This is the divine intervention. This is your redirection. Okay. And it could be your redirection, and it could be that person's redirection. But what I do know is that for whatever reason, spirit knows the two of you are not meant to be together. Hard impact on that one, and I totally get it. Believe me, and all of your prayer requests, and I know some of us are guilty for only praying when we need something. Sometimes we often forget the gratitude list and what we are thankful for. But at the same time, the redirections we never ask for. And the reason we don't ask for those redirections is to get you out, because it takes you completely out of your comfort zone. Okay. What if you have lived somewhere basically all of your life, and all of a sudden it's time to move? That's going to be totally out of your comfort zone, but it is going to be a hard redirection. So this whole divine redirection, or this divine intervention, could also be known as a spiritual growth and spiritual awakening, which you will hear in my readings many times. Okay. Now, rest assured of one thing: you can question spirit. yes, you're supposed to fear spirit, but you can also question spirit. How that answer will come to you could vary in several different ways. But yeah, you're always free to question spirit on why you're being directed. Okay. And some examples are outside of when somebody has just ghosted you or just disappeared because that person was being removed from your life. Why didn't you get the job that you wanted? You were qualified for it. It was a perfect job for you. It was at the right location. The timing for you was right. Why didn't you get that job? Divine intervention. Why is it that the person that you felt was absolutely perfect for you didn't go past the first date? It's divine intervention. Okay. Now, the same thing as these don't seem to be really traumatic instances. I do want to talk about the traumatic instances. Okay. Let's talk about sudden deaths. Why was that person or that loved one removed from your life the way that they were and so suddenly? That too falls under divine intervention. Believe it or not, spirit does not punish people. And I know you may feel the spirit does, but spirit does not punish people. It is a way of speaking to you, okay? But it's also part of your redirection. How many sudden deaths have turned something good? How many advocates and nonprofits have been established due to something tragic happening? How many authors have been born of just one of many books now due to a tragedy? How many people were redirected so hard that they may have worked as a pharmacist and now are a psychologist? It is a redirection for all that you know. It is a different way of life. You will never replace them, the same as you will never replace a pet. You will never replace a human being. There is always something that comes out of a sudden death or death that was upcoming, where one life replaces another. Let's say you lost your grandmother who was 88 years old, but then your child was born the following week. It's the circle of life. The same way, what I know it's hard, but those that have had real bad accidents, the life lessons and the life lessons, and those ones that have been crippled from car accidents, and those that have been, they're not living a different life after an accident or put through the accident in general. And perhaps it wasn't an accident their fault. Perhaps they were someone else's redirection. That does happen as well. So the divine intervention, it happens every day, all day. And sometimes it's a lot worse than why you didn't get that job. All of this makes you who you are today. Without these instances and without these life lessons, you would not be who you are today. So let me ask you this, and this is something I really want you to sit back and think on. Are you the same person that you were 3 years ago? Are you the same person that you were 5 years ago? And are you the same person you were 10 years ago? And I'm sure most of you can answer that you're not. And it comes through exactly that, what you have been through, what you have been through. And like I said, I really want to reiterate, it's a redirection. I've had many of you say that you feel rejected by spirit, or you feel that you're being punished by spirit. That's not the way spirit works. Not at all. It's a hard redirection. Divine redirection, divine intervention, spiritual growth, spiritual awakening, any way you want to call this, okay? It's not done deliberately to you. And it needs to be a constant reminder that a door is being closed for a reason. Okay. And let's go back to my readings when I'm talking about these doors all the time. That you have to kick a door closed for the new door to open. It's very true. It's very true. You cannot open a new door with the other door remaining open. And you need to be reminded that some doors have to close. Unfortunately, it's a timing thing and it's a control thing. And we don't get to any say-so in the timing. No say-so in the timing. And my biggest thing is you have no control over it. And this is where we panic. This is where we have been pushed out of our comfort zone, and we just don't get where we're being directed. We don't know why. We don't know what we have done to deserve such hard redirection. And, I think Spirit wants you to know that's okay. They get that. Now, let's talk about where I'm asking you to look where you were 3, 5, 10 years ago. What redirections have you been through? What tragedies, or what appeared to be a tragedy, got you to where you are now? What wonderful has happened following those tragedies? Because usually what happens is you're redirected after a tragedy, and then at some point in time, something wonderful comes in that would not have happened if that tragedy had not occurred. And you have to remember, in regards to rejection, in regards to your fear of rejection, rejection and fear come from the enemy. It doesn't come from spirit. And why don't you always know that things are coming? Well, the purpose of a psychic reading is to give you some insight about what's to happen and what's to come. And those things that leave you baffled or dumbfounded, you're thinking, I don't think that could happen. I'm not sure if I'm on board with this. It's probably your redirection because you don't want to hear it. Okay? And that's fine. That is absolutely fine. And you remember, as most psychics are, we are just the messenger. We are just here to tell you what is to come. Sometimes can you change your reading? Sometimes you can. Sometimes you can. If it's fated, no, you can't. Do we know if it's fated or not? No, we do not. We just relay the messages that we get. The other, I think it was a truly wonderful question that I was asked, okay, was, how come you can't tell me that I'm going to be doing this for this year and this year, then I'll be redirected to this year, and then redirected from this to this year to this year? Spirit doesn't show us that, okay? And I'll tell you why, okay? Let me give you an example. Let's use an example of a GPS, and let's say you're traveling, I don't know, 2, 3 states away for vacation, and you're driving, and you're going to use that GPS. That GPS is going to take you through your travels step by step and allow you to glimpse just a little ways further, but not too much further. Okay? Just like a psychic reading does. Now, If you got in your car, if you got in your driveway and you're at the end of the driveway and you're getting ready to pull out the road and then GPS says, okay, you're going to turn right. You're going to travel 10 miles. You're going to pick up the interstate. You're going to have it south for 15 miles. You're going to switch interstates, get off the next exit ramp, travel through here, pay 2 tolls, travel through the tunnel, cross the mountain, take a right, next state coming up. You know what? It's going to happen. You're going to be so overwhelmed that you're going to back that car back up in the driveway and you're going to stay home because you cannot grasp what all that GPS just told you. And there was no way you could follow it. That's not a rejection. And it's not a redirection. It's letting you know how spirit operates. It's going to guide you a few steps at a time. If you stop to get gas, it'll give you that quick glimpse of what's coming up in the next hour or what's coming up in the next 30 minutes. It's not going to go any further than that because it doesn't want to overwhelm you. You have to go through it. You have to go through the steps. So if you're following that GPS and you're taking a break at a rest area and you want to know about the next state and it's just not showing you, it's because you're not there yet. Okay. You have to reach that area to see what is in that area. It is the exact same way when we deliver those messages to you in a psychic reading. You have to travel, but so far to get to the next area. When you're in the next area, we are given more information. It works just like a psychic reading. And if you look at your life in a whole, your whole life works like that GPS. Okay. Work, career, everything's on point. Everything's on point with family. Everything's on point in the home life. All of a sudden, there's a sudden death. There's many emotions and there's grieving. And then the process begins. Are you able to keep the home? Where are you going to be led? Are you going to have to leave the area? If you have to leave the area, are you going to leave the job? It's all going to be very overwhelming at one time. But rest assured, Spirit's going to guide you through it one step at a time. This, my friends, is your redirection. So I hope this brought a little bit of clarity to some of the questions that I was asked. Again, I am open to these topics. I am open to anything that you've heard me touch base on that you want me to go further with. I enjoy the podcast. I enjoy helping people. It's kind of my niche. It's kind of my thing. So again, JackieTomlin.com for any paranormal concern, any psychic reading, anything like that. And yes, we got some great reviews on the Paranormal Show, and we will be picking up with that very soon. So thank you guys for joining me again for another great episode. You have a fantastic week, and I will see you soon. Bye.